what is eco-justice? And it could mean different things to different people. Some people distinguish it from environmental justice. So I just want to know, for your own personal take on things, for each of you, what does eco-justice mean to you? And I guess we can go in the same order that we did last time, so we don't get too confused. So I'll start with Tara. What does eco-justice mean to you?
Well, in terms of the hub, creating it for the site, we didn't differentiate. We did use the terms eco-justice and environmental justice fairly interchangeably. Because we know certain people have attach different meanings to the different definitions, but we wanted it to be really broad enough that everyone could find it accessible and could find information in there that was useful to them. So we did keep it fairly broad. Getting into what it means to me personally, that does kind of get more to my own personal connection to all of this. Well, let me start with the forum site. So Mary Evelyn Tucker had been talking about this for a while, and we knew that we had resources across the site, lots of eco-justice resources across the site, but they weren't in any easily findable or cohesive place. So the first, and I have to give huge kudos to Liz because she did most of this. I cannot take credit for this. The first thing was to go across the entire forum site, which, as you know, is quite large, and identify everything we already had. So what is eco-justice? To me, I have a very, my parents were very engaged in both Catholic and Quaker social justice action. So to me, it feels very natural, and I feel very good about the fact that we now have something on our site that's very justice dedicated. It's very timely, obviously, with everything that's going on in the world. At the same time, it's something that we've been talking about doing for quite some time. So we're glad that everything is aligned. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, timely indeed. Yeah, it's amazing, right? The resources have been there, just harder to find. And so, yeah, it's a good time to kind of collect it together because everybody's clamoring for this kind of material for sure.
We added a ton, believe me, a huge amount more than was already there. But Liz really gave us a good foundation by finding everything that we already had, and then we just expanded and expanded and expanded. Yeah, with prioritizing things from the last couple of years, especially in the articles. Yeah, we want to,
Right.
a lot of. Especially in the news articles, we want it to be fresh and current, and history is very, very important, and we give historical resources. But because of everything that's going on in the world, we wanted to prioritize the fresher, newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, very nice. Liz, can you tell us what is eco-justice?
Yeah, to me, eco-justice, it's very similar to what Tara was talking about, but eco-justice is about the well-being of all human beings on a thriving and healthy earth. And there's a huge element to me of like compensatory or reparatory justice involved, because historically environmental burdens and benefits are not fairly distributed. And that's just an exacerbated phenomenon in climate crisis. And yeah, I mean, I have a background in justice and justice work as well. I studied peace studies before coming to the divinity school. So I'm very acquainted with, especially like fossil fuel divestment. But, there's like such a human component to this of like, who has access to green spaces, who has access to healthy environments and clean water and clean air. And it's not fairly distributed across Earth. So I think it's about making sure that everyone experiences the environment in fair ways. And just like looking out for all human beings.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Otherwise, the environmental crisis seems like a crisis for something out there. This other, there's something outside of us that has a problem. It's like, no, it's also very much a human crisis. Yeah, so very, very well said. And Young, what do you think? What's eco-justice?
Yeah, I think we pretty much have similar ideas. But speaking for myself, eco-justice means to envision the flourishing of the Earth community as one living body. So some would differentiate, as Tara said, eco-justice from environmental justice, but I think they share a common motivation to do justice, that they are dialectical. And eco-justice discovers the corruption and the broken relationships within the Earth community from a macrocosmic view, and provides conversations and actions that bring reconciliation grounded in justice.
Nice. Yeah, really good definition. Yeah, it's, I appreciate especially that each of us, we kind of the same idea of what eco-justice is, and yet each of us has a different way of articulating that in different scales, and some of these different words coming out: fairness, flourishing, getting a sense of what this is all about. So Leah, what's eco-justice?
Yeah, I don't know that I have too much to add after these great definitions, but I guess just thinking that first of all, I definitely think of eco-justice and environmental justice the same. So I'll probably use environmental justice when I talk about it today, but the way we think about environmental justice has to be inherently intersectional, because we know that environmental justice and racial justice and gender justice are all intertwined. I can give an example for that. So we know in cities, we can see that historically redline communities, which are communities that are typically have higher number of residents of people of color or low income, are also subjected to greater amounts of pollution and less green space. So that's just an easy example to show the intersectionality there. And then also, I guess, from a religious perspective, just thinking through that the same moral impetus that pushes us to work towards social justice is also should be incorporated in environmental justice, and vice versa. Especially as we see like the impacts of climate change manifest more and more, these are intertwined issues that can't be separated. Yeah.
Very good.